right, welcome to Tribulation Day 114. And the world continues to spiral downwards into chaos. But you know what? It's a good day to be alive, my friends. You know, time being short, every day we need to rejoice that we're here on this planet with one more day to prepare and try and do something about what's coming. You know, this morning what I want to talk about is I ran across a video by a guy who goes by the handle of Mr. Wondermind, or Wondering Mind 42. And anyway, he posted a video titled "The Most Terrifying Video You'll Ever See." And I couldn't believe it. It had 5 million hits on it. So obviously, you know, he found a way of communicating and getting a message across that has a pretty wide audience. But anyway, I kind of listened to his video, and what he was doing was pitching global warming and kind of a way of looking at whether we want to do something or not do something about global warming. Basically, he created a little tic-tac-toe matrix. Up over here is global warming, and you know, the choice that everyone's having to make is global warming true or false, which he calls the rose. And technically he's saying what we can't control is whether the world chooses to believe in global warming. But then in these upper columns, you know, it's actually whether you're going to do something about global warming or you're not going to do something about global warming, and you get different results depending on whether global warming is true or false. So basically, when you look at the little matrix, what he says is, hey, the one thing we can control is whether we choose to do something about it or we do nothing about it. So what he's saying is, hey, we should be in the yes column, because whether global warming is true or false, you actually end up with either life that just kind of sucks or maybe life that's okay. But if you're in the no column, meaning do nothing, and whether global warming is true or false, we're either going to have a total disaster or we'll actually be okay because it's false. But you know, the logic of this matrix is that you should do something. And you know what, Mr. Wandering, is it Wandering Mind or Wondering Mind 42? I actually agree with your matrix, and I agree with the thought process of whether you should do something or whether you shouldn't do anything, you know. But the problem I got with what you're telling everybody is you're showing them the wrong matrix. You know, because, you know, in your mind, you think global warming is the end-all and be-all of what the world needs to address. And you know what? I don't know whether you did it on purpose or not on purpose, but you can always correct things and let me know. But there really was no mention of where people are spiritually, and no mention of the biggest choice where we need to make a yes or a no decision that's facing the world, which is you know, good versus evil. You know, does it exist? And, you know, are you going to do something about it, or are you not going to do something about it? And, you know, me and you, Mr. Wandering Mind, we both agree that people that try and be in the middle, in the gray areas, you know, they're already kind of in this, like, false delusion, because you really have to make a yes or a no decision on this. So if I take Mr. Wandering Mind's matrix and I kind of change the subject, what we end up with is good versus evil, which means, you know, that's basically God versus Satan. It's either true or false. And what we can't really control is whether the world is going to believe that God is almighty or whether they're going to reject God. But the columns is, are we going to do something about it, yes or no? That's something that we actually can control, because that's an individual choice that every human on earth has to decide, and there's repercussions of it all. And of course, you know, if it is good versus evil and you decide to do something about it, you know, the rewards are salvation and heaven. If you do nothing about it, the rewards could quite possibly be hell. And you know, good versus evil, if it's just a fantasy world that there is no God, then if you do something about it, guess what happens? You still get a better world, because people that believe in God, you know what? They're good people. They do good things. They don't pollute. They don't hurt people. They don't riot in the streets. But you know what? If you don't believe that there's a God and there is no God, you know what? We could be happy, but it would also free us up to address global warming. So if there actually is no God and you don't believe in God, then you kind of luck out, because theoretically you might be happy, even though I'm going to tell you my experience is humans that reject God ultimately are not happy, because you find most of them searching for something anyway. You know, like they're going into Buddhism, and there's a lot of cultures, you know, out there, and teachings that are so similar, and I think in a lot of ways line up with believing in God and believing in Jesus. So if you're on those paths, you could divert right over and be on the correct path. But if you're just sitting there on that path, it's a wicked deception, because there's a lot of goodness that comes out of, you know, Buddhists and people that, you know, are trying to be positive in their lives. But the reason why I say it makes a difference, because, you know, it's terrible if we go into this us-they thing, you know, like, oh, your religion, you know, you're a Buddhist, I'm a Christian, you know, but it comes down to evil. You know, what's on the other side? You know, and if you deny evil, like there's no devil, or people aren't wicked, when somebody goes and kills 90 people, you know, they're just crazy, insane. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, there's a connection between people being crazy and insane, and with evil and Satan and demons, you know, because the wickedness that people are doing far exceeds what they're actually capable of. And if you look at the direction of the world, you know, I'll tell you, I believe humans are good. I do. You know, that's how I view people in life when I'm walking about. But at the same time, the world's this crazy place where it seems to be going to hell. I say it every morning, like we continue to spiral downwards into chaos. And why is that? Is because there is an enemy over there, and it is pure evil. And you got to start sizing it up and saying, well, if it is over there, who's a part of that? Who's on that team? And you know what? You can't be in the middle ground. You know, like take World War II. The good forces had to unite, you know, so that's the common ground. But it's hard to unite where, you know, it's crazy, man. Like, once again, these are lots and lots of good people. You know, even atheists that say they don't believe in God, but they're very good people. But if you actually mention God and Jesus, they get upset, because it's something they want to deny in their lives, or just don't want to figure into the equation. But it has ramifications. You know, like, once again, look at the chart. And, you know, the bottom line is, if you don't figure this out, that it's good versus evil, and that Satan actually does exist, then, you know, you don't need to worry about global warming. You know, because if you lose your soul, man, you know, even if you're alive on this planet, you know, it just doesn't much matter. So the world needs to wake up. And, you know, Mr. Wandering Mind, you know, I saw your second version of your video, and you're wearing the little devil's horns, so I know what you're implying. You know, just slightly, you're kind of mocking the people. You're going to say that, hey, you know what, Tribulation 515 2011 over there, he's like crazy, man, because that's fantasy stuff. Well, you know what, that's how people view global warming, brother. But wake yourself up too, man, because before you even get to global warming, figure out where you are spiritually, man, and whether you even believe that there is a God. All right, you know what? I'm going to sign on off. My purpose was not to scare the shit out of everybody. But you know what? If this is scaring you into doing something, taking action, of actually, you know, I got my program, man. Confront yourself. Figure out where your demons are, where your life is, whether you believe in God or not. You know, confront others, anybody that's around you that's dragging you down. Confront the world, man. You know, yeah, global warming, pollution, whatever. If you've got God in your heart, you're a positive force, and you don't want any of that stuff that's going to negatively affect the earth. And most importantly, fourth, confront reality, man, because, you know, what's coming down the road looks crazy, man, but, you know, at the same time, we have the power through faith, through the power of God, to make anything happen, man. All right, man.